belong to some online art groups in which is a thing to choose a word of the year. And the word of the year I chose this year is resilience. So this is what I wrote about it. Resilience. I've been thinking a lot in recent days about resilience, a property much needed to get us through in these pandemic days or anywhere where life presents its challenges. As we use the word today, it's fairly new. Its Latin root meaning to jump back, used first in English as a scientific term for a thing's ability to bounce back, to resume its former shape when it has been compressed or stretched. When I have been compressed or stretched by something in my life, I need resilience to carry on, changed perhaps, but steady in my being's essence. When I feel weak, unable to go on, I look at myself or at this body that houses me, for it holds genetic material with encoded ancestral memories from thousands of generations of survivors. And that's just the human ancestors, people who had to be resilient in order to survive long enough to pass on their genes. I look to them and I look to trees, firmly rooted yet able to bend and sway at wind's insistence to withstand the cold of deepest winter and the heat of summer's height. I look to mountains worn by eons of assault from wind and water, from rock falls and slides, and yet enduring as themselves. I look to the tiny, delicate seeming flower that cracks its way up through solid concrete, asphalt, or sidewalk paving stone. And I look to the sky, ever changing, ever new. Clouds come and clouds go. Storms come and storms go. Seasons come and seasons go. Nights and days come and go. And yet the sky remains sky. Whatever it always was, it is. I call upon the wisdom that surrounds me. I call upon the strength of my ancestors, of all these things that survive, endure, continue, resilient to life's changes. And so may I be, so may we all be, able to bounce back rubber-like in strength, resilient to the core. In the midst of chaos, uncertainty, and impermanence, I am.
So I don't have anything new. So I'm gonna read something that I haven't done in a while, I guess. This one is about this other person and myself and how we were not compatible. It's called Polyhymnia and Erato. At one point, I tried to learn by heart the names of all the muses from Greek, I guess, mythology and culture. So Polyhymnia is a muse who is writing sacred poetry that is dedicated to gods and stuff like that. And of course, Erato is much more, like a woman like me. she was writing or is the muse of the erotic or romantic poetry. So this poem is called Polyhymnia and Erato. I hear what you're saying. You meditate. You write sacred poetry. You worship the higher being. You answer to higher calling. You don't need earthly pleasures. You will be content when your soul is in mandala. I'm not sure you catch my drifting. I tried to meditate once. Was too distracted by living beings here and now in this finite and imperfect world, mainly the birds and the bees. My soul will die with my body, and I don't believe in mandala. You make your own food. You protect the environment. I eat the food you make. I dream of brewing my own beer. I'd let you try some. Oh, sober vegan, admirable choice. Barley and hops are organic. You know that, right? You play mahjong with yourself. I practice other arts with myself. Do I write? Oh, yes. Erotic poetry. I worship the here and now. Deities do not exist in my world. Only the imperfect, yet real humans. I think we can agree that both you and me are imperfect, yet here and now humans. I know a game we could play together. It can involve all sorts of ancient, meditative, and a bit more sweat-provoking, heart and other organs stimulating practices. Is there a mantra? Oh, yes. Hold me, trust me, and take me.
The prompt for this poem was a place I always wanted to visit. I've entitled this, A Dream Comes True to See the Taj Mahal. Crimson hints of sari silks scud across the sky as the day gives way to the moon's caress, across a dome firm as a nuptial breast. Her opalescent tomb outshines the full-faced orb. I long to see the 17th century bejeweled crown, the first and most exquisite Mughal woman's mausoleum, of love declared by Emperor Shah Jahan for Mumtaz Mahal, his favorite spouse. After birthing her 14th child caused her demise, the Shah grieved new life into Mughal architecture, replacing dull, muted hues with white, iridescent marble, creating for his Mumtaz an earthly, translucent paradise. We, standing hand in hand, watched our train depart without us for Agra. I, pale from birthing, too frail for our pilgrimage, was despondent. My husband caught my tears in his promise, we shall return. 20 years had passed when at last we walked, enchanted, beneath the fluted archways in Agra, dazzled by Mumtaz Mahal's diaphanous tomb, mirrored perfectly in the garden river for eternity. In the vaulted arches, we could hear their perfect love reverberating. In the delicate blossoms of lapis lazuli, we could smell her perfume. In the inlaid vines of malachite and turquoise, we could watch their lives entwine, while these ancient lovers lie forever in their glowing sarcophagi.
Smashed glass lay on the alley's floor. Those carved out edges that once belonged to the window of my driver's side door. Panic, disbelief, urgency to act. For a moment, Saturn rings. Jagged instrument persists to its victory. Car contents spill onto the asphalt. I pick up what I can, trying not to cut myself. A wave of emotions wash over me. What was stolen? 'Tis unclear at this section of time. This is the first aggressive automotive attack I've endured. I drive the lesson into my head. Never leave anything important, not even for a moment, in your method of transportation. For in a flash, it could vanish. That is my takeaway from this situation. For I'll dwell on the positive rather than the violation. This lesson was stern yet gentle. Was not anything taken of great or irreplaceable value, as so many go through. Now, in the years to pass, past the cycles of the circling stars, I can take that which I cannot change and make it a teaching to future protect my heart. 'Tis certainly most vital that I'm mindful with my car's contents. and never leave anything of great importance in a position that it could no longer exist in my life. With a lasting loss, I shan't be flirting. Humanity's great flaw, integrity of all, cannot be certain.
So this poem is called February in the Belly. It's from a few years ago, and it's written in honor of the time of February 1st and 2nd, which is what we're in right now. And it's the feast of Bridget, St. Bridget. It's the time when in Ireland with Bridget, the lambs first began to be born. So that's the in the belly part. It's where many of the animals would be pregnant. It's also the time of Candlemas in Christianity. It's the ancient celebration of Imbolc in the Celtic lands. And it's the time right between, perfectly between the winter solstice and spring equinox. And it's also Groundhog Day here in North America. February in the belly. What's coming? A corner has been turned. What unexpected is around this particular corner? Stats will tell us that at least half the time the unexpected will be good, but many of us are at an age where the news isn't. We're not too surprised when a friend is diagnosed with cancer or heart disease, or when we hear that the job fell through or the marriage fell apart. Yet, a good word to remember, yet, those aren't the whole story, ever. Whatever the groundhog shadow portends, spring will come. Right now, seeds in the belly of the earth are feeling the extra hours of sunlight. Right now, there is new life growing in the belly of many a critter, trusting that when it's time to be born, come forth, arise, there will be light enough and warmth enough and nourishment enough to go on. Many of us at an age where bad news is not very unusual, where we've seen many a winter. We also know that despite the snow on the ground and ice ready to trip us up, yet again, we know that spring will come. And yet again, new life will grow. It's growing now in the belly, I promise.
This one's called the Chaos Makers. Our hands shake. Hot tea burns our skin, but that's not all that scorches us or makes our blisters rise. Phantom complaints and injustices resonate with 100 real heartbreaks, mislabeled, not addressed, contaminating our lives. No doctor in sight. So we order putrid rage from online hucksters who claim they love us like brothers and like sisters and brothers, to pitch us septic lies that may kill us and our neighbors without us ever figuring out what makes us sick or why. Are the internet hawkers poisoned too? Or do they know they sell half-truths? Do the chaos makers who brewed the stuff laugh at the puppet show we make when they set us at each other's throats, enraged and ready to fight an army of imagined enemies? Spilled tea burns our skin, but our blisters are inside.
Rot is a smell, one failure seeping into another, like a warm fridge full of old groceries, unrecoverable, not honorably aged or catastrophically collapsed, not cancer or a heart attack, a creeping, willful loss of value. Rot is unnecessary, deliberate neglect. This town smells like rot, a leftover Halloween pumpkin dug out of the leaves in August. Rot is a geriatric man in soiled sweatpants and a hockey jersey, staggering down the middle of the road. There is no soul in the suffering. There is no blues. Even the crows won't eat the trash here.
She is a fierce warrior woman, has seen the darkness long enough to know that she wants to live in the light. She is a loving mother, raising 2 precious sons into kind and caring beings. She is a devoted healer, a knower of the body and the power of the mind. She is a nature child, takes walks and hikes and camps in the wild. She is a beautiful woman, generous to her friends, and a lot of fun to be around.
This poem I don't think I've read before. I need you to pretend it's a month ago, winter solstice time. I wrote 3 poems sort of on the same theme. This is just called Winter Solstice. The ancients said the sun stood still this longest night, this deepest dark, this coldest winter wait. In this holding time between what was and what is to be, dare we hope? If so, what dare we hope? In this inane world of rush, rush, rush for more, 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 while Mother Earth has less, less, less to give, dare we hope for a waking up, a recalling the long-lost knowing of our intricate bond, our interweaving, our interdependence with all of creation? Dare we hope for an end to this pandemic, so costly in every sense, an ending equally reaching all, poor, rich, young, old, privileged, forgotten? This Advent time, this solstice time can give us hope. The light will return with warmth and color spreading like the sunrise rays. Meanwhile, we light our candles to remind us that the light has not left us behind.
This is one from one of the lockdowns. I am not exactly sure what it's about, but I'll let you be the judge of that. The poem is called The Cocoon. It is peaceful in my fortress. Strong winds howl around it. Distant voices, threats and pleas alike, bounce off its stone walls. Burning oil cannot light it on fire. Catapults cannot crack it. My peaceful, empty fortress. I am mighty in my armor, equally impenetrable for medieval and contemporary weapons. So shiny, it blinds the enemies. Spotted and feared from afar, avoided by miles. My mighty armor weighs me down. In this high-tech bubble wrap, I cannot possibly be bruised. It covers every inch of my being, resistant to shaking, tossing, squeezing, blows, hugs, caresses. Ideal for long haul travels and lifelong loneliness. This high-tech bubble wrap is suffocating me. I feel safe in my cocoon, hidden in plain sight through Mother Nature's ingenious mimicry. No predator can recognize there is life inside it. They see it and don't believe it. They sniff it, then they leave it. My safe cocoon emits the smell of rotting flesh.
I thought I'd write a poem about the IMF's natural solution to climate change. And it's in the format where the title is the question and the text of the poem is the answer. Is the IMF's natural solution to climate change possible? The International Monetary Fund is not known for touting the environment as its own. The climate economic threat must be quite severe for them to venture into that sphere. The IMF report on CO2 pollution supports whales as the natural solution. If we could help increase their population, it could change dire climate annihilation. Research shows wherever the great whales survive, phytoplankton, the ocean's food supply, will thrive. Fertilized by the behemoth's prodigious pooped plumes, rich in nitrogen and iron, at last the algae blooms. From these tiny mighty phytoplankton comes half of all the Earth's life-giving oxygen. They also sink as much carbon from the air as 4 towering Amazon rainforests could ensnare. Today, 1/3 or fewer great cetaceans remain to circumnavigate their ocean-wide domain, as whaling plundered right whales to the brink, decreasing blue whales to 3%, not yet extinct. An eco-value of $2 million for each leviathan makes possible whale stocks might see some restoration, but only if mammoth fines for each one lost were set, for poaching, ship strikes, and bycatch in trawling nets. So to answer this existential question, the IMF should run with its natural suggestion and waste no time in implementation to reverse the harm to our global ecosystem.
Wherever there's a jelly salad, I'll be there. Wherever there's a peanut butter cup, I'll be there. Wherever there's a chocolate mousse, I'll be there. And oh, look, it's apple pie and oh my, oh, well, of course, I dare. And for you, dear, wherever there is you, I'll be there. I'll be there for you, dear. You can swear by that. Whatever you desire, dear, I'll be there for you. I'll be there, whatever you need, dear, I will be there. And if you come into danger, dear, you can bet I'll be there. I'll be there. And if you have some ice cream to serve, you bet I think that I deserve to share a scoop to complete the loop from dessert to the next dessert, because I love sweets. I need my sweets. And if you have some sweet, sweet words, I'll be there. And if you want me to sing along with birds, I'll be there. And if you want to dance a waltz, you bet your boots I'll be there. Anything your heart desires, my dear, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. But don't forget the sweet things, dear. You know I love all sweet things, dear. If there's sugar in it, dear, I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. I'll be there. If you can make a Slurpee, I'll be there. If you can bake meringue pie, I'll be there. For which I think I'd be happy to die. Or mix a peanut butter chocolate blend. Oh boy, I'll be there. And when you're ill, I'll stay with you until you can smile again. Don't you dare count me out. I'll be there. I promise you, my dear, always, I will be there.
Just late night thoughts, I guess, that I wrote down on my phone and I wanted to read to you. It goes like this. What I can reach, I will try to change for the better. What I can, let me start again here. It's been a while since I read this one. What I can reach, I will try to change for the better. What I can't, I will strain for. What I can conceive, I will attempt to shed light, to right an injustice, and I will always try to defend those people and animals within arm's grasp that I can tread out a better path for. I will cover them in empathy and heal their body, their souls, energy, and my mind and heart. I shan't give up. I will persistently strive to change the world. I will persistently strive for a changing world, one where happiness, safety, and love are more prevalent all around us, and goodwill will prevail. I will nurture hope and spawn its endless blaze into the pockets of darkness. I will not sway from this course. In my heart, I know the only trajectory is onward, upward, and out, expanse.
This is a new poem that I wrote this month. It goes along with my word of the year, which I do every year. Well, at least I have for the last 5 years, which is I pick a word that will be kind of a focus for me for the year. This year, it's really release and real/ease. So the two words go together, release and real ease. This poem is called Remove From Me Everything That Is Not Myself. A wise woman offered me her prayer. Please remove from me everything that is not myself. Not very poetic, a little awkward, just 9 words. Please remove from me everything that is not myself. I've never forgotten it though, and it came back this year as an inner chant drumming on my heart. In equal measure, I find myself yearning for this to be so and terrified of being left with nothing, left naked and cold, so very cold. Please remove from me everything that is not myself. But what if I like having things that are not myself? What if I'm used to having, to being lots? I have the trappings of an educated woman near the end of a varied, interesting career. And I know my status, power, and position are already in the process of removal. Those trappings may have been mine, but they are not myself. I am other than, more than, and less than myself. I hold all kinds of stuff, all kinds of souvenirs from a life caring for others. My mother's dreams, my father's failures, trying so hard, exhaustion, grit, and grief. The grief of so many who have told me their secrets, their pains, their betrayals. I know how to help carry others' burdens, and I carry much, much. And it's time to set those down to let the earth compost them. They are not myself. I have wanted to help, and I have. And I'm not the only one who can help. The world is filled with allies offering help and healing, comfort and transformation. Ask the ravens and the deer. Listen to the trees, and even humans too. That stuff I've carried, those burdens, they are not myself. Not even the stuff that has happened directly to me. They are not myself. The outer life, it has defined me, but that is not myself. And now, what is left? What is inside? The inner life is vast. The inner life is so rich. The inner life is like waiting for a butterfly to land on your hand. If I'm very calm, very still, heart and hands held open, the butterfly comes, and worlds open. Worlds open, and I fall through the depths, finding myself, my true self. This is myself. It's taken a long time to get here. Thank you, and amen.
Advent skies. Even when a Chinook turns our horizon to turquoise and blue expectation, the multicolored sunset lasts only a few minutes in December. Flyaway thoughts blow in the wind. Obligations flood crevices in my mind, things to do, people to talk to before Christmas comes, or at least before the new year finds us. Yearning cries, rest, write, make something. No time for that, says my anxious brain, until the last present is bought, last package posted, last cookie baked, and the fruitcake unpacked from the paperware ages. The day after Solstice tried to cut short the dark and point us back to light, I felt a blizzard closing in and looked up from unfocused editing of fractured notes to see ferocious gray clouds and freezing winds choke the skylight as they swooped down to prophesy blinding snow and another sudden night. It was the kind of night the settlers used to die in, too far from home, without church bells to call out for them. We are rich and warm and fed because they often went without. And this is the reason enough to shut the book of things to do and savor the refuge that is now.
Don't go out to the woods today. I hear they're baptizing babies with their laser rays, singing hallelujah, there ain't no shame. If boozing and the womanizing is your game. Now I've grown to 50 times my size. From up here, all the people look like ants and flies. But from the look in their eyes, you can see their demise, so I'll wait for my foes to materialize. Now, I've been getting my news from the Book of Signs. Godzilla called me up and said it's the end of times. And if the king of the monsters has taken a scare, then it's time to be gone, so be gone and beware. Because the shamans with crow's bones are sitting on chrome thrones, waiting in line to cast the first of the stones thrown. So I'll send off my minions to travel the far roads, because hey, don't you know all the cool kids wear barcodes. Now there's pitchforks and torches banging down the door. They got what they want, now they're howling for more. The mothers of angels, material girls, masters of planets, destroyers of worlds. Death to the heathens and towers of flames and armies of demons from negative planes.
I envision hillsides with trees wearing the colors of fall, from vivid reds to oranges, yellows, and greens. Clean scent of country air, horse-drawn buggies, herds of sheep and cows, undulating rivers and glistening lakes, light evening breeze after a hot autumn day. Fireflies light up, flying above the ground. The moon and stars shine bright on a peaceful country night.
The doctor poked and prodded, tested, analyzed, and thought. Then he gave me his diagnosis. He said, "You have a tumor," etc. I took in none of the etc. He must have read my face, for he brightened up and said, "It is a grand new tumor. Congratulations, you are statistic number 600,926,756,999,007. As we shook hands in parting, the doctor said, "We're working on it. Don't worry, it is not fatal. Not yet, anyway." Well, it took some time to process this news. I went through the depression, the anger, the blame, the bargaining. But the tumor stayed. Finally, I reached the stage of acceptance. I'm going to live with that damn thing. And anyway, doggone it, I have the best dang tumor in town.
This was from a prompt that was a little unusual. It is, if life doesn't give you lemons. So I wondered what a life that doesn't give you lemons would be like. And I call this Lemonless. When life doesn't give you lemons, get a banana and peel it. Then slip on it. Find the appeal in tripping up on your own ego. Then pick yourself up and go buy a durian. Open it up with bare hands, prick your fingers and bleed. Smell the pain of being one of the unfreed. Then go sit under a tree. If a shiny new apple should drop on your head, ignore it. You don't understand the gravity of your own ignorance anyway. Let all the apples fall at your feet and rot, and rot, and rot. Then give in to temptation and eat one. Let it cure you of your sinless core. If life doesn't give you lemons, check your privilege before entering the orchard. Not everyone has a branded juicer to make lemonade. Besides, ice melts. Sweetness is overrated. So stop drinking the fool-aid. Here, bite into the bitter, raw. Empathy is a fruit you have yet to taste. A lemonless life is deceiving. Relish the receiving.
Christians say it all begins with a word. Hindus say it all begins with a sound. Ah, yes, word and sound yield songs. I came to this world with a song of my own, born of the one eternal canticle. Mine it is to choose tune, key, range, to compose ever-changing verses, singing joys and sorrows, losses and loves, pains, fears, and longings of my heart. But mine was never meant to be a solo voice, for we are made to be with one another. And so I sing my song in choir, carrying the melody, singing harmony, or at times being at rest, enfolded, sustained and carried by the singing of the others. And when my earthly life is done, my song will carry on. I will join my voice with the great symphony of all creation, pulsing in the music of the one.
The spy. Wouldn't it be super sly to have an affair with a spy? He is old, his head is bald, attitude worn out, twitchy, resigned. Yet a real gentleman, respectful, kind. He knew a lot and told it all, always with his back against the wall. We drank for 10 hours. That did not help. He made me feel good about myself. Others were rotating. We stood our ground. Finally, they announced the last round. On the back seat, he smiled at me and put his bald head into my lap. I was caressing his rugged face when the car pulled up in front of my place. He kissed my hand and let it go. Goodbye, my spy. A bientôt. The second one is called The Slave. You want to be ordered around, stepped on, controlled, possessed. I'd like to be wined and dined, read poetry to, caressed. You want a business transaction, no emotions, no regrets. I prefer pillow talk long into the night, and in the morning, coffee in bed. You want to be a shadow, a slave, kiss my feet only at your leisure. I will admit, being in charge fits me. It may have given me a grain of pleasure. However, I need a Hulk, not a ghost. And though you're not a jerk, I want you to help, not to be helped. This is not going to work. The officer. I was alone, confused, terrified. You were the first responder. Neutral but pleasant, friendly, supportive, you made me feel much better. You invited me into your truck. Your presence made me calmer. You ticketed the other party, my knight in shining armor. Just a slight touch of patriarchy. Today, I grabbed it with both hands. You protected me. I wish you served me. Why did this drop-off ride have to end? I stalked you on Facebook clearly. I have your name and ranks. Blonde wife, a high school sweetheart, and 3 equally blonde brats. Yeah, that's pretty much my luck. Fairy tales do not exist. Thank you for your service, officer. Now, who's next on my list?
Okay, I'm doing the poem song thing again. These are some song lyrics, but it's also a poem. This was written about 17 or 18 years ago, and this one was very important to me, so I just wanted to give a tiny, quick little background. It's my 4-country poem song that was started on a bus in Nicaragua. A couple lines were written in Paris, a couple lines in London, and then finished on the prairies. And the person who first put music to it was Murray Nelson, one of the long-standing guitar teachers in Lethbridge. He taught Steve's dad. He was a teacher here for 40 years. He's no longer around today, but he was one of my good friends. And I played this in the South Country Fair songwriting competition years ago. And I think that's all I want to say. Oh, and it's one grand metaphor, or one, it sounds risque, but it's about something else. And this was a long time ago I wrote it, but it's called The Deal-Breaking Shake. It goes like this. Taste me. Slip into this graceful sea. I'll smother you in trance for free. It won't take long to love, you'll see. You spike my flower. Be my bee, don't waste me. This offer doesn't stand for long. You hem and haw, and I'll be gone. A flash at that is all it takes. A moment's pause, deal break and shake. Hesitation, missing that of the bizarre. Flow with your mystery, shoot up with your star. Thunder waits for lightning, but which one steals the hype? Sounds ever failing race, always trump by light. Embrace me. Make your move while the night is still young. It's hard to pick that chord with your chances unstrung. I don't dig delay. Action's the attraction, but takes energy to reach. I'll sweat for satisfaction while you slumber in your dreams. While you slumber in your dreams, you and my dreams for now it seems. This action's passing fast, you see. One murmur of uncertainty, and I'll retreat, and we will meet our end, the end.
This is a poem, another one that I wrote this month, kind of in response to the news and the truckers' convoy and everything that's happening in the world with COVID, and all the wars happening or threatened. So it's called How to Change the World. The world is scary. I hear tragedies in stereo 8 days a week. And behind these tragedies, real people, just like me, like you, like my son, are really suffering, really alone, really oppressed. So much pain, and the world so complex in its perpetual production of trauma. So little I can do to help it all. I'm not a powerful person. I'm not a wealthy philanthropist. I can barely get supper on the table most days. So little I can do to help it all. Really, what can I do? I can't start an international aid organization, though I've thought of it. What is under my control? It's all so overwhelming. But what if I took a nap and resisted mandatory capitalistic productivity? What if I made myself a cup of tea? Peppermint I dried myself and let Coca-Cola go bankrupt. Don't laugh, I'm one of their best customers. It's a family tradition and intergenerational curse. What if I made art and let the malls stay empty? What if I embraced my modest means and be happy that the banks aren't propping up tyrannies with my investments? What if I put down my phone when my son interrupted me yet again? What if I stopped scrolling in general and remembered that Facebook isn't free when it sells me as the product? What if I read a book and supported the library as our community resource? What if I interrupted the racist comment, or at least changed the subject? What if I healed my own hurts and became a neurological safe haven for others? What if I invited you for tomato soup and grilled cheese at my own table? What if? A good question, that. Maybe I can do something to help, at least in my own tiny little piece of it all.
Ripples. I thought I was powerless to stand against the wave of hate crashing over me until I threw a pebble in the river and watched the ripples spread like waves upon the sea. Then I knew that though I won't change the world alone or move the undercurrent with one stone, I'll change the way the water flows around the bridge with every rock I throw. It dawned on me that words are the creator's skipping stones, so I'll speak life into the watery void and watch the ripples grow, imagining that as 100,000 strangers I may never know drop in their pebbles too, our words change history.
Seasons of our love. We met in springtime, in the tender state of life. We grew, we blossomed, we saw thunderstorms and hot sunny days. We walked through enchanted woods and sometimes through pouring rain. We saw rainbows, waterfalls, and sunsets over the mountains. We danced under the moon, woke up at the first ray of sunshine, walked through thick piles of leaves in the fall, sitting under a tree, watching people walk by. We watched the snow fall on crisp winter days and sat around the fire, mesmerized by the flame.
This one is slated for a book I'm putting together right now. You don't have to be. You don't have to be a Christian, but if you love thy neighbor as you love yourself, you will be honoring all Christians. You don't have to be a Muslim, but if you honor your mother and father and keep your faith, you will be honoring all Muslims. You don't have to be a Sikh, but if you have ever done good to others, you have honored all Sikhs. And you don't have to be a Hindu, but if you have ever practiced morals, then you have honored all Hindus. You don't have to be a Jew or believe in Judaism, but if you believe in spiritualism, if you have silently prayed to the Maker or the Great Spirit above, then you have honored all Jews. You don't have to be a Buddhist, but if you believe in the nobility of truth, you have honored all Buddhists. You don't have to be all things to all men, but if you have been true to your true self, then you have honored your fellow man. And if you have ever lived for others, if you have honored these beliefs, and if you have lived up to your own honest truth, we shall be one, and there will be peace. You don't have to join a religion to be a good person, but you are free to join the one in which you believe. If you have comforted someone in their hour of need, you will be of the universal faith. You don't have to be, but you are, because God or nature has made you. You are your own image in this world, cultivated with truth, loyalty, love, and enrichment.
So this was me just pining for my kids because the second year in a row four of us weren't able to get together. My daughter is away in Canada. It's not safe for her to fly back anyway. I am not an Xmas tree. I am not a Christmas tree to be pulled out of storage once a year, trussed up and encircled with blinking lights, decorated with baubles, ball ornaments, cheap glitter, and plastic pine cones. But some days, I do want to be your Christmas tree, on a platform or a stage, all lit, your glowing presence at my feet. I'm not a snowman with a carrot nose, hollows for eyes, twigs for hands, your snowball target, eventually melting and forgotten. But some days, I wish I could be rolled up in your warm hands, shaped anew, my poker smile peeking through your morning window, tipping my borrowed hat as you pass by. I'm not a Santa Claus, a parent disguised as your benefactor with a fake white beard, a pillow for a paunch, your corner bell clanger, your mall knee warmer, with a dyed red suit and a wind-up repetitive ho, ho, ho. But some nights I dream of coming down your chimney, waking you up, introducing you to Dasher and Prancer, Cupid and Comet, Rudolph and his shiny snout. I'd wink, fulfill your wish and take you on a sleigh ride across a twinkling night sky and make you laugh out loud, genuinely, like you used to. I'm not your unwrapped gift. I'm not your mistletoe or the kiss under it. I'm not your spiked eggnog. I'm not your fruitcake. I'm not your cookie. I'm not your seasonal representation of superficiality or passing fancy. I'm your emptied gift box. I'm your heartache of loss and regret. I'm your tired cliche of wants and needs. Your missing guest, the knock on the door that you long for which never comes. You were my child in a manger, my living star, my wise princess, my little drummer boy. I'm still in your corner, pining for you, my hope evergreen, for your healing, for my healing. Tinsel in a teardrop, a lone light always on for you to find your way home.
Actually, Julian and his last poem has motivated me to read this poem. I've only read it once, so this was a poem that I wrote after I had returned from one of my visits to my dad when he was sick but still alive. He has since passed. Yeah, this is just a poem about, I guess, how, about the guilt trip of being away from my dad as he was dying. The poem is called Perfect Timing. How to say goodbye when you're not yet leaving. How to ensure perfect timing to send you off to the universe when the universe is not yet certain if and when it wants you to join. You universe and your poor planning. All my travels, and I've traveled a lot, were planned, organized, guided. Visas were arranged, and they had return tickets bought. This trip has no itinerary. Direction is unknown. Tickets are free, but you trade for them everything you've got. Return, not possible. Detour, not possible. Layover, not possible. All the places I visited were in the languages I could speak. Or if I could not speak them, I could at least understand. Or if I could not understand, there was a translator. How do I communicate with you when you can no longer hear and you can no longer speak and it is too hard to write? And when I look you in the eyes, you don't look back at me, as you refuse to burden me with knowing what you know. The little you can say, you choose to use for lies. Between my new home and my old home, Google cannot calculate the distance. I know they are connected. I've taken the trip so many times. And if I could afford the time and money, I'd take it every week. Afford. What is the price of a perfectly timed goodbye? Google Maps suck. Between you and me, there are gazillions of miles. There is no distance, but the distance is growing. The voices are fading. The silence is becoming louder. There is no judgment, no accusation. But I don't know exactly how to best help you, how to best ease my conscience. I could stand in line for your visa, I could pack your suitcase, but this is not it. I am angry with you because you're dying. I'll be okay without you, but you deserve better than this. If you need to go, go. I wish you do not suffer. I know you already suffer and you are yet to suffer. I wish you died in your sleep. That's not how the cards are dealt. If I could choose for you, I prefer bleeding to suffocation. It is not my choice to make. I wish I were there with you with my perfectly timed goodbye. I will most likely not be with you. You will die alone, and I will die much later, guilty. Where you are going, you do not need a ticket, you do not need a passport, you do not need a shaving cream, a soap, you do not need a change of clothes. Instead of a visa, a doctor's referral. Instead of a sleep mask, a radiation mask. Instead of a good book, directions for medication use. Instead of a swimming trunk, diapers. I may shave you and bathe you and clothe you once I take a trip from my new home to my old home, after I receive the news that the universe finally opened the portal and you embarked on a vessel and you transcended through the portal in the direction of the light. Thank you.